Beloved, lean in for a moment. I need you to hear this not with the ears in your head, but with the ears in your spirit. Because what I am about to declare is not ordinary, and these coming days will not be ordinary. Heaven has issued a memo, and the earth is about to feel its impact. There is a shift approaching, subtle enough to be missed by the casual observer, but undeniable to those who walk with discernment. Something is about to break open, and you must be ready. When God speaks, time adjusts. Atmospheres rearrange themselves. Seasons that have been stuck suddenly realign. And the word released for these 10 days of December 2025 is clear. They will not be normal days. These days will be marked, set apart, carved out by the hand of God for divine intervention, unusual activity, and supernatural movement. These will be days when doors open that have resisted you for years. Days when prayers that have lingered in the throne room will finally gain the weight needed to drop upon your life. Days when God pulls back the veil and reveals what has been hidden, delayed, or fought over in the spirit. Days when the unexpected becomes your portion. Not the unexpected of chaos, but the unexpected of divine acceleration. These 10 days will function like a spiritual launch pad. What didn't shift all year long will shift in moments. What the enemy meant to bury you with, God will use to elevate you. These days will carry the fragrance of divine completion and the force of supernatural beginnings. Cycles will break, patterns will end, old burdens will fall off, heavy chains will melt like wax in the fire of God's presence. Do not approach these days casually. Wake up with intentionality. Move with expectation. Guard your atmosphere. Watch what you say, because your words will be amplified in these 10 days. Watch what you believe, because faith will be multiplied. Watch what you expect, because expectation will become manifestation. For some, these days will be days of prophetic instruction, God giving you strategies you've never heard, insights you've never seen, solutions you've never considered. For others, they will be days of healing, emotional wounds finally closing, spiritual injuries finally treated, physical symptoms finally uprooted. And for many, these will be days of divine reversal, attacks overturned, losses restored, verdicts changed, and impossibilities rewritten. Do not be surprised if unusual peace surrounds you. Do not be shocked if old battles suddenly lose their power. Do not be alarmed if God begins removing people, habits, or situations that were never meant to follow you into your next season. These are days of pruning so you can grow, days of alignment so you can advance, days of purification so you can carry the next level of glory. Heaven is on assignment. Angels are on dispatch. The spiritual climate over your life is shifting from delay to release, from stagnation to movement, from warfare to breakthrough. These 10 days will be the hinge on which your future swings. Your story is turning a page. Your season is crossing a threshold. Your spirit is stepping into a new dimension. Prepare yourself. Consecrate your mind, tune your heart, anchor your faith, because God has spoken, and when God marks days, he marks destinies. These 10 days of December 2025 will not be normal days. They are divine days, appointed days, supernatural days, and they will usher you into the fullness of what has been promised. Walk into them with confidence, rise into them with boldness, and expect the extraordinary to find you. These 10 days in December 2025 are unlike any other days you have experienced. They are not normal days, and to understand their significance, you must recognize that God himself has marked them for divine activity that transcends the ordinary. These are days set apart by the hand of heaven, days that carry weight and purpose far beyond what the human mind can fully comprehend. To enter into these days casually without awareness or preparation is to risk missing the power, the favor, and the breakthrough that God has assigned to this season. The supernatural is not always visible to the human eye, but its influence is undeniable. During these 10 days, the spiritual realm is going to be active in ways that will affect every area of life: personal, professional, relational, and spiritual. Doors that have been closed for years will open without struggle, and situations that seemed immovable will shift in moments. The hand of God will touch circumstances that have resisted change, and long-standing barriers will crumble. This is a time of acceleration. Time itself will feel different. The delay you have experienced in the past may vanish as these days bring divine alignment. What has lingered and what has been postponed will suddenly be catapulted forward. There is a momentum that will enter the atmosphere. And if you are aligned with God's purpose, you will find yourself moving with that momentum, not against it. In these 10 days, you may notice that things begin to happen without explanation. Doors will open unexpectedly and opportunities will present themselves in ways that defy logic. People will come into your life at precisely the right moment. Messages will arrive that carry answers you have been seeking, and connections that were once dormant will suddenly be reactivated. The unusual is not simply an external phenomenon, it is spiritual. Angels are dispatched to execute assignments that will support the divine purposes for these 10 days. You will find that certain obstacles you have been wrestling with are suddenly overcome, and the opposition that seems so strong is neutralized without you even trying. This is the nature of days that have been marked by God. It is not a suggestion that these days will be easy. Rather, they are designed to ensure that the supernatural intersects with your natural life in a way that brings transformation. During this period, expect the unexpected. The natural mind may struggle to understand what is happening because the order of things will be rearranged according to divine intent. What has been impossible will become possible not because of human effort, but because of heaven's intervention. These days carry favor that is not earned, but assigned, and that favor will touch areas that have been resistant to change. Even in situations where circumstances appear dark, the hand of God will bring light. And where delay has existed, acceleration will be seen. The divine realm is preparing to move on behalf of those who are spiritually awake and ready to receive. This is a season to watch, listen, and respond with intentionality. To enter these 10 days without expectation or faith is to miss the fullness of what has been prepared. It is critical to understand that these are not ordinary blessings or minor breakthroughs. They are supernatural in nature, and they will disrupt normal patterns. The world will continue in its ordinary rhythm, but for those who are in alignment with God, life will take on a different cadence. You may find that doors open where no doors existed, that ideas you have been praying for come into clarity, and that solutions to long-standing problems are revealed with sudden precision. The ordinary human mind may attempt to explain these events logically, but you will know deep in your spirit that it is the hand of God at work. The supernatural will become tangible, and you will experience a sense of God's power moving in real time. Preparation is essential. These days require spiritual readiness. Your thoughts, words, and actions must be aligned with God's purpose. Guard your heart and mind, because the atmosphere will carry the energy of divine intervention, and those who are sensitive to it will benefit greatly. Pay attention to your spirit, because God often speaks in subtle ways before the manifestation occurs. A word spoken in faith during these days may carry more weight than it has at any other time. Prayer will be amplified. Decisions made in alignment with God's wisdom will produce extraordinary outcomes. The supernatural will interact with the natural, creating an acceleration that will be undeniable to those with discernment. This is also a time for increased awareness. Not everyone will recognize the significance of these days. Some will go through them as if they were normal, missing the divine orchestration that is unfolding. But for those who walk in faith and awareness, these 10 days will produce results that will ripple through months and even years ahead. What begins in these days can set the course for the coming season of life. Opportunities that appear may be doors to new seasons, relationships that are restored may open pathways to destiny, and moments of revelation may redefine your purpose. These are days when heaven intersects with the earth in ways that are unusual and powerful. It is vital to embrace these days with expectation and confidence. Faith must be active, not passive. Speak words of life and favor over your circumstances. Align your spirit with God's intent. Dismiss doubt, fear, and hesitation, because these days are charged with potential that is activated by belief in action, in harmony with divine will. Watch for supernatural shifts in timing, in relationships, in finances, and in health. Be alert to sudden changes that bring breakthrough. Recognize that what appears unusual is actually a divine strategy for your life. Remember, the world will not recognize the significance of these days. Many will go through them thinking they are ordinary. But for those who understand that God has marked them for supernatural activity, these days are holy and powerful. They are designed to manifest favor, blessings, and interventions that cannot be manufactured by human effort. The supernatural will intersect with natural life in ways that are miraculous, transformative, and unexplainable except by the power of God. These 10 days are a gift, a mandate, and a divine appointment. Approach them with intentionality, expectation, and unwavering faith, knowing that God's hand is orchestrating every movement for the advancement of those who are ready to receive. These 10 days in December 2025 will not resemble any other period in your life because God has ordained them as a season of sudden shifts, open doors, and accelerated answers. What has been delayed for years, what has been resisted or blocked is about to experience divine intervention that defies human logic. The spiritual atmosphere is changing, and the hand of God is moving in ways that will rearrange circumstances, align resources, and reposition lives. It is essential to understand that this is not a gradual, ordinary transition. This is sudden, unexpected, and supernatural movement designed to release what has been withheld. Doors that have remained closed will swing wide. Opportunities that were unavailable will appear without warning. Answers that have been slow in coming will accelerate and manifest in ways that will amaze you. The suddenness of these shifts is critical. They are not incremental, they are immediate. What has been waiting in the background for years may now become front and center. Divine timing is being revealed in real time. Things that have required endless effort, constant striving, and tireless patience may now move without struggle. Relationships that have been stagnant may suddenly experience restoration. Projects that have been delayed may now launch with supernatural support. Opportunities that were once hidden or inaccessible will be presented at the perfect moment. This is the nature of days that God has marked as extraordinary. The pace of change will seem rapid, and if you are not spiritually prepared, you may miss the magnitude of what is unfolding. These days are a window for accelerated answers. What you have been praying for, seeking, or hoping for may arrive in ways that surpass your imagination. You will find solutions appearing that were never available before, strategies being revealed that you could not have discovered on your own, and clarity emerging where there was confusion. Divine intelligence will provide insights at a speed that your natural understanding cannot produce. Situations that appeared impossible will now have possibilities, and doors that were locked will now open with ease. This is not coincidental. It is divine orchestration. God's hand is repositioning your life so that you can step into alignment with your destiny. As these sudden shifts occur, it is vital to remain alert and responsive. Opportunities will not wait for hesitation. Open doors require action. Favor must be embraced. When you recognize a shift, step into it with faith and confidence. These 10 days are a time when alignment with God's purpose will result in accelerated movement. Those who recognize the shifts and move in obedience will experience progress that may have seemed unattainable in the past. Those who hesitate may witness others move ahead while their own breakthroughs remain delayed. The spiritual climate is sensitive to responsiveness, and these 10 days demand awareness and intentionality. It is also a time to be spiritually and mentally prepared for unusual encounters. As doors open and answers accelerate, you may find yourself facing new responsibilities, new connections, and new challenges that are part of God's plan. Do not be alarmed by the suddenness of these shifts. Instead, recognize them as signs of divine timing. What may appear disruptive is often part of a greater strategy to align your life with God's purpose. Changes may happen in your career, in relationships, in finances, and in personal circumstances. Each shift is designed to position you for greater success, favor, and influence. The acceleration of answers is another critical aspect of these 10 days. Things that required years of waiting may be answered in days. Long-standing prayers, requests, and petitions that seemed delayed may suddenly receive resolution. What was hidden or inaccessible may become visible and available. This is a time when God's provision is not only generous, but also swift. You may receive confirmation for decisions that you have been uncertain about, clarity about your next steps, and insight into solutions for complex problems. Answers may appear in the form of new opportunities, divine connections, unexpected resources, or direct revelations. Each accelerated answer is evidence of God's sovereignty and his willingness to move on behalf of those who are spiritually alert and faithful. It's important to note that while these days bring acceleration, they also require spiritual discernment. Not every opportunity or shift is intended for you, and not every answer aligns with God's will. Discernment must accompany action. Listen carefully to God's guidance, stay in prayer, and maintain a heart sensitive to the Spirit. The suddenness of change can be disorienting if approached without spiritual clarity. However, for those who are attuned, these shifts will produce transformation that will resonate for months and even years. You will find that what once seemed stagnant is now moving at an accelerated pace, and the trajectory of your life is being realigned for purpose and destiny. These 10 days are a divine interruption of the ordinary. They are designed to disrupt delays, reverse stagnation, and accelerate what has been promised. The timing, the placement, and the opening of doors are orchestrated by God. You may find that relationships realign, opportunities appear in unexpected places, and resources flow in ways that defy natural explanation. Each shift is intentional and carries the signature of God's hand. You are being positioned to enter a season of expansion, influence, and breakthrough that could not have been accessed through ordinary effort alone. It is crucial to enter these days with an expectant spirit. Expect sudden changes, expect doors to open, expect answers to arrive in ways that surpass your understanding. Do not limit God to the methods you know. Allow him to move in his divine wisdom. Align your actions with what God is doing. Step into the opportunities that appear with faith and embrace the acceleration of your life with confidence. These days are not ordinary. They are extraordinary, and they have been marked for divine intervention, divine favor, and supernatural momentum. The key to experiencing the full impact of these 10 days is awareness, faith, and responsiveness. The sudden shifts, open doors, and accelerated answers will not wait for hesitation. They will move in alignment with divine timing. Those who are alert, prepared, and obedient will witness remarkable transformations. Those who are unaware may see the shifts happen around them without experiencing the fullness of what is being offered. These 10 days are a season of divine acceleration, a time when the natural intersects with the supernatural, and a period when God's power moves with immediacy. These 10 days in December 2025 are set apart as a time of profound healing, divine revelation, and miraculous reversal. The hand of God is moving to restore what has been broken, to reveal what has been hidden, and to overturn what has been wrong. This is a season in which wounds that have lingered for years will begin to close, where emotional scars will be soothed, and where spiritual restoration will take place with power and authority. Healing is not limited to the physical body. It is a multidimensional restoration. Relationships that have been fractured will experience reconciliation. Hearts that have been heavy with pain will be lifted, and minds that have been clouded with confusion will gain clarity. God is moving in a way that addresses every aspect of your life. These 10 days are a divine appointment for transformation, a sacred window in which restoration and revelation intersect to produce supernatural change. The healing that occurs during these days is not gradual or partial. It is deep, comprehensive, and supernatural. Where there has been long-standing sickness, restoration is being released. Where there has been emotional pain, comfort and joy will replace the heaviness. Where there has been spiritual fatigue, renewal and strength will be imparted. This is a time when God's presence brings wholeness. Long-term burdens will be lifted, and what the enemy intended for harm will now serve to elevate you into a new season. Healing comes as a result of God's divine intervention, and it is not restricted by the limitations of human understanding. The supernatural is at work, and its effects will be evident in your life in ways that cannot be ignored or minimized. Alongside healing, revelation is a major component of these 10 days. The spiritual eyes that have been veiled will be opened. The mind that has been clouded will receive clarity. Insight, strategies, and understanding that have been previously inaccessible will suddenly become apparent. The hidden agendas of the enemy will be exposed, and the mysteries of your own path will be illuminated. Revelation brings wisdom and direction. It allows you to navigate life with confidence, knowing that God is guiding your steps. In these days, what was once confusing or unclear will become obvious. Secrets will be unveiled, solutions will be revealed, and divine understanding will provide a framework for decision making. This revelation is not only for knowledge, but for empowerment. It equips you to act in accordance with God's purpose and to respond to opportunities and challenges with divine insight. Divine reversal is also a critical aspect of these 10 days. What the enemy has intended for harm, delay, or destruction will now be transformed into blessings, advancement, and favor. Losses that were thought permanent will be restored. Setbacks will become setups, and failures will be repositioned for success. God's hand is actively overturning circumstances that have been contrary to your destiny. This is not merely a return to what was lost. It is of elation to a level higher than what was previously possible. Reversals are a hallmark of God's supernatural intervention. What was meant to hold you back will now propel you forward. What seemed like defeat will become victory. What appeared to be an end will now serve as a new beginning. During this period, it is essential to remain spiritually alert and receptive. Healing, revelation, and reversal will manifest, but awareness and faith are required to access their full impact. Your spiritual posture, your sensitivity to God, your receptivity to His direction, and your openness to change will determine how fully you experience the breakthroughs that are available. Engage in prayer with expectation, meditate on God's word with focus, and move in obedience to His instructions. The supernatural cannot be forced, but it can be embraced when the heart is aligned with God's purpose. As these 10 days unfold, you may notice significant shifts in personal relationships. Conflicts that have persisted may find resolution. Bonds that have been strained may be restored. Words that have been left unspoken may finally be communicated in ways that heal and strengthen connections. Emotional and relational restoration often accompanies spiritual healing. The power of God works in both the seen and unseen realms, touching hearts, repairing damage, and creating environments where love, peace, and unity can flourish. The hand of God is reaching into every area where brokenness exists, ensuring that restoration is complete and transformative. Health and vitality are also included in the scope of these days. Physical ailments, chronic conditions, and long-term health challenges may see sudden improvement or complete healing, while medical intervention may still play a role. These 10 days carry the supernatural potential for restoration that transcends natural remedies. It is a time to stand in faith, to expect miracles, and to receive divine touch. God's restorative power is not limited by the passage of time, the severity of the condition, or the opinions of others. It moves with authority, bringing wholeness where there has been illness and strength where there has been weakness. Revelation during these days will provide insight into your life, your purpose, and your destiny. You may receive understanding about decisions that need to be made, clarity about directions to pursue, and strategies for overcoming obstacles. The spiritual realm will interact with the natural, and answers that have been delayed will arrive in moments of divine clarity. Your discernment will be sharpened, allowing you to recognize opportunities, avoid pitfalls, and move with confidence. God's revelation is both practical and spiritual, equipping you to navigate life with wisdom that surpasses ordinary understanding. Divine reversals will also manifest in your circumstances, bringing restoration and advancement. Financial setbacks may be overturned. Career obstacles may be removed. Projects that have stagnated may suddenly gain momentum. What has been denied or delayed will now be released, and the course of your life will shift toward fulfillment and success. These reversals are not random. They are intentional acts of God to realign your life with His purpose and to demonstrate His power and faithfulness. It is essential to approach these 10 days with expectancy and readiness. Healing, revelation, and reversal are available, but they require a heart aligned with God's will, faith that is active, and a willingness to receive. Pray with intensity, focus on God's word, and maintain a posture of obedience and sensitivity to the Spirit. As you engage with these days intentionally, you will experience transformation in ways that will ripple throughout your life, establishing a new pattern of favor, restoration, and divine alignment. These 10 days in December 2025 are a divine call to spiritual readiness, discernment, and expectation, and they demand more than casual participation. They are not ordinary days, and ordinary responses will not suffice. God is releasing extraordinary power, favor, and alignment into this season, but access to what is coming depends entirely on your spiritual posture. Readiness is more than preparation. It is a state of alignment with the Spirit, a positioning of the heart and mind to move in harmony with God's purpose. It is a conscious choice to remain alert, aware, and intentional in every thought, word, and action. Spiritual readiness involves understanding that these 10 days are unique, that the supernatural is active, and that your awareness and faith will determine how fully you experience the blessings, shifts, and interventions that are available. Those who are spiritually awake will walk in confidence, clarity, and authority. Those who are spiritually asleep may miss the magnitude of what heaven is orchestrating. Discernment is critical during this period. The enemy will seek to distract, delay, or deceive. Not every opportunity, every sudden shift, or every surprising event is of God. Spiritual insight is required to distinguish between what is divine and what is counterfeit. Discernment comes from prayer, meditation, and attunement to the Spirit. It requires sensitivity to subtle shifts in the atmosphere, attentiveness to God's guidance, and the wisdom to make decisions based on revelation rather than impulse. These days are not a time for casual engagement or reactionary responses. They are a time for strategic alignment with divine will, a time to listen closely, act deliberately, and position oneself for maximum impact. With discernment, What may appear ordinary is understood as extraordinary. What may appear challenging is recognized as an opportunity, and what may seem confusing is revealed as part of God's greater plan. Expectation is a vital component of spiritual readiness. To expect is to anticipate with confidence the intervention of God, the opening of doors, the release of favor, and the arrival of breakthrough. Expectation activates faith. It positions your heart to receive rather than to doubt. During these 10 days, the supernatural will be made available to those who anticipate it. Expect unusual answers to prayer, sudden opportunities, and divine strategies for advancement. Expect healing, restoration, and revelation. Expect reversal where delay and opposition have existed. The power of expectation is spiritual magnetism. It draws the reality of heaven into the circumstances of your life. Those who approach these days without expectation risk bypassing the fullness of what God has prepared. Spiritual readiness also requires vigilance over the atmosphere you carry. Your words, thoughts, and actions create an environment that either aligns with or resists the movement of the Spirit. Guard your mind against fear, doubt, and negativity, and speak words of life, faith, and authority over your circumstances. Be intentional about the company you keep, the media you consume, and the environments you inhabit. These factors influence your spiritual alignment and can either enhance or hinder your access to the breakthroughs, favor, and acceleration that are available in these 10 days. God moves in alignment with preparation, and preparation is both internal and external. Your heart, mind, and spirit must be poised to receive, and your life must be positioned to walk in obedience to what God is releasing. During these days, your sensitivity to God's guidance will be heightened. Pay attention to impressions, promptings, and insights that arise within your spirit. Angels and divine intelligence will operate on behalf of those who are alert, guiding you to opportunities, revealing hidden strategies, and positioning you for supernatural encounters. Spiritual readiness is an active posture, not a passive one. It requires movement in accordance with the Spirit's direction, alignment with God's timing, and responsiveness to divine instruction. Those who remain passive or inattentive may witness blessings pass by, while those who remain vigilant and responsive will experience acceleration, favor, and transformation. Prayer, fasting, and meditation during these days are not optional. They are strategic tools for readiness. They heighten your awareness, sharpen your discernment, and cultivate expectation. Through intentional engagement with God, your spirit becomes attuned to the supernatural flow that is present in these 10 days. Prayer aligns your heart with heaven. Fasting increases sensitivity to the Spirit, and meditation allows clarity of mind and focus. These practices are not merely religious acts. They are spiritual instruments that position you to receive, recognize, and walk in the fullness of what God is releasing. The more prepared and intentional you are in these practices, the more effectively you will navigate the extraordinary shifts, open doors, and accelerated answers that characterize this season. Faith is intertwined with readiness, discernment, and expectation. It is the channel through which divine favor flows. Expectation without faith is empty. Readiness without faith is incomplete, and discernment without faith is limited. Faith activates the supernatural, allowing God's promises to manifest in the natural realm. These 10 days are charged with supernatural potential, and your faith determines how much of that potential you will experience. Speak words of authority. Act in alignment with divine insight, and trust that God is orchestrating every shift, every opportunity, and every answer for your benefit. Faith transforms possibility into reality. As these days unfold, remain alert to the movements around you. Opportunities may appear suddenly, messages may arrive unexpectedly, and instructions may be delivered in ways that are unusual or surprising. Spiritual readiness means recognizing these divine interventions and stepping into them with confidence. Discernment allows you to differentiate between what is from God and what is not, and expectation ensures that you are positioned to receive the full impact. Each element, readiness, discernment, and expectation, works together to unlock the extraordinary potential of these 10 days. In summary, these 10 days are a divine call to position yourself strategically in the spiritual realm. They demand attention, focus, and intentionality. Your heart must be aligned, your spirit attuned, and your faith active. Spiritual readiness prepares you for access. Discernment guides you to align with God's purpose, and expectation positions you to receive the supernatural. This is not a time for casual engagement, hesitation, or passivity. This is a time for action, awareness, and alignment. The blessings, reversals, revelations, and breakthroughs that are available during these 10 days require a posture of spiritual alertness and a heart poised to respond to the extraordinary movement of God. Beloved, as we stand at the threshold of these 10 days in December 2025, know this: God is moving with precision, purpose, and power. These days will not be ordinary. They are marked for acceleration, restoration, revelation, and breakthrough. The heavens are aligned, the angels are dispatched, and the hand of God is poised to bring sudden shifts that will alter the course of your life. What has been delayed will arrive. What has been broken will be restored. What has been hidden will be revealed. What the enemy meant for destruction will now serve as your divine advantage. The invitation is clear. Walk into these days with readiness, discernment, and expectation. Guard your heart, align your spirit, and position yourself to receive. Speak words of life, act in faith, and embrace the supernatural flow that has been prepared for you. This is your season to experience divine acceleration, miraculous reversals, and extraordinary favor. Do not underestimate these days. Do not approach them casually. Instead, step boldly into what God has ordained and watch as ordinary moments transform into extraordinary victories. Remember, heaven has spoken. The days ahead are sacred, set apart, and charged with power. You are not here by accident. You have been positioned for this season. Walk with awareness, rise with faith, and expect the impossible to manifest. God is ready to move. The question is, are you ready to receive? Step into these days with confidence and let the supernatural break forth in your life like never before.